When they announced that they were making a movie out of this book, I said, if anyone's going to be able to adapt it well, it's Spielberg. Thank God I was right. So not only was it a good movie, it was actually a pretty good adaptation as well. Ready Player One tells the story of Wade Watts, a kid living in the future of basically the slums of Ohio. The only good thing that he has in his life is the Oasis, which is this virtual reality world where he can go and be anything he wants. It's like the super internet. Well, the creator of the Oasis dies, and in his will he stated that anyone who discovered an Easter egg he had hidden in the game would inherit his company and his vast fortune. Wade Watts is one of the people attempting to find it. Going by the username Parseval, because Parseval was the one who found the Holy Grail, mind you, working with several other fun and well-written characters, Wade races against IOI, the evil mega-corporation that actually literally kidnaps people and uses them for slavery, and does his best to get to the 3 keys he needs in order to unlock the Easter egg. But a lot of the important things in the book were the small touches, the minute details that would otherwise be tossed aside that actually turned out to be very important in the end. Things that typically movies don't have time for. Fortunately, Spielberg did effectively work around that by cutting a number of unnecessary plot threads. For example, it didn't really talk about how Wade lived in poverty and didn't really have a chance to level up in the game. There were several dead ends in the search, which did strengthen the book and deepen the mystery, but at the same time, didn't really need to be told for the movie. Now, a lot of the details that did need to be included were slipped in, some a little quickly, not terribly awkward, but it was obvious that they were being set up for later use. So even if you hadn't read the book, you could see they would introduce MacGuffin number 6, and you would think, aha, that's going to make it in the climax, no doubt. But at least it's still fun. Perhaps the biggest change they had as far as an adaptation is the mystery itself. Now, the core answers to the mystery, I'm not going to give any spoilers, don't worry, those are generally the same in the movie. The difference being how the puzzles are presented. Whereas in the book, the first key is unlocked when you discover a hidden cavern and go on a small gaming quest there. In the movie, it's all about winning a race. And frankly, that was a good decision because it's a lot more visually interesting. And quite frankly, that opening race scene they had, goddamn awesome. Artemis was also largely changed. Artemis was also changed. She's the female love interest for Wade. Nothing really damning, they just changed how she was important to the plot. So if you're worried that she's going to become like Annabeth from the Percy Jackson series and she just becomes the pretty one, don't worry, she still kicks ass in her own way. Now, visually the movie was amazing. I mean, you can tell that from the trailers alone, but everything is set up so carefully, so well. The cinematography they chose to go with plays with all the limitations that you would have in real life. For example, a constantly spinning camera around a group of characters walking down a hallway. Not a problem in animation, and they use that to its fullest extent. You have constant scenes where Percival is driving around in his Dolores, door open, shooting out of the window, and the movie is able to get some great shots in of him. But the biggest challenge of this movie, and the one that makes me question what did Spielberg have to spend in royalties, was definitely the references they made. Now, if you've read the book, you know that this is all about nostalgia from the 80s. You've got constant references to several different movies and books and songs and video games, so on and so forth. Lots of references there. And they went all out in this one. You want 80s nostalgia? Yeah, you've got that. Also, 90s, 2000s, last week nostalgia. I mean, you've got characters from Battleborn and Overwatch in here. For fun, I tried to see how many references I could keep track of. I stopped bothering within the first 5 minutes. The first fight scene alone, where they're introducing some of the side characters and they're still explaining the world. You've got several dozen references alone. Battletoads, Link shows up. One of the characters is using the assault rifle from Halo. At one point, someone uses that 5-pointed shuriken from, I think it was Krull? I mean, there is a squadron of Master Chiefs running around. They even slipped in Michael Bay's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I don't know how much that's going to turn people off, but they're in there. And literally, thousands of other characters show up in this. If you were to try to keep track of every reference and every character that they used in this movie, you would have to go frame by frame in order to catch them all. Someone is going to eventually build a list, because that's how the internet works. I want to see how many thousands of entries they get into that. It could be like a fun game for some people. I'm gonna go see it with my roommate. We kept pointing out different characters that we were noticing. Oh, hey, there's that guy. Oh, there's that guy. So if you're in the mood for the most wildly dynamic Where's Waldo game ever, go see this movie. There is some criticism that has to be levied against the movie, and although there isn't much, the villain was a bit of a problem. The head guy for the evil corporation IOI is a guy named Nolan Sorrento, and for the first 80% of the movie, he was actually pretty good. Until the climax started happening, and then someone just took his brain and tossed it right out the window. I won't go too far into detail to avoid spoilers, but you just had to look at this guy and think, how, in any conceivable way, did you think you would get away with this? Yeah, he's running off of emotion and fumes by the end of everything. I get that, but he goes from an otherwise cunning, straightforward guy with a plan and just becomes this angry, insipid little man. That was actually quite disappointing. But really, that's the only significant criticism I have. And frankly, considering all the other fun that we had in the movie, go see this movie. If you were a fan of the book and you wanted to see how they adapted things, you're actually in store for a couple of fun surprises. They follow the formula of the book well enough that you know what's going to happen, but you don't know how precisely it's going to happen. And I think that was a lot of fun. That's one of the things that I actually really respect about Spielberg when it comes to the movies that he adapts from books. Because where so many people try to follow the literal interpretation of the book, Spielberg is able to step back and, more importantly, follow the spirit of the book. And that's why I think he's such a great director. I mean, yeah, he's got the great effects team and great actors to work with and so on and so forth. I mean, on a basic level, he's definitely a solid director, but from a storytelling perspective, when adapting a novel, he's able to understand what makes a solid and lovable story. And that's why you should go check out Ready Player One. So have you seen it? Do you want to see it? Say something in the comments. And hey, for fun, what references have you seen in the trailers or in the actual movie? I don't know if we're going to do a review on this on The Book Was Better, but we might. It won't be a big angry review, but we might.